What if the monster under your bed was actually your mother? That's a bit harsh, okay. But in this episode, we're diving deep into the mother of all wounds, quite literally. And I'm really glad and thankful that I have Blanca by my side for this episode, all the way from Puerto Rican family drama to untangling the knots of mother-daughter tapestry and learning how to wave a new goddamn pattern. Brace yourself for a raw, real, and surprisingly hilarious journey through generational trauma, self-sabotage, and the art of becoming your own damn hero. And bonus, we will dish out hot shelf tips on how to parent without turning your kids' future therapy sessions into a bloody full-time job. So, I never said it's not gonna get messy. You know, that's always where the magic is, right? So, you ready? Let's go.
Hi, and welcome to the Scenic Route podcast, where we believe in embracing life's journey with purpose, curiosity, and a bit of potty humor. I'm one cool mom, and I'm always looking out for that perfect slice of gluten-free rhubarb pie. Every week, I get the joy of sitting down with dreamers and doers who dare to take the road less traveled in pursuit of their own magic. Together, we dive into the inspiring stories of soulful entrepreneurs and visionary leaders who boldly share their beliefs, lessons, and fuck-ups. Excited? So am I. You're exactly where you're meant to be. And now, let's take this conversation off the beaten track.
Blanca Rodriguez is the owner and CEO of Wounded Healer, and damn, she wears many hats and all of them splendidly. She has been a licensed massage therapist for 19 years, a certified canine massage therapist, as well as a fitness instructor for 45 plus individuals, and a Zumba and dance teacher for more than 40 years. But hey, that's not all. She's also an Amazon best-selling book co-author, holistic life coach, motivational inspirational speaker, educator, and volunteer. Blanca is the member and mentor at the American Massage Therapy Association, member, mentor, and vice president of education at Talking Heads of Stewart Toastmasters, member of Puerto Rico Toastmasters Club, and area director of Toastmasters International.
Blanca, welcome to the Scenic Route podcast. How are you?
Good, and yourself, Jennifer. What a joy and an honor it is for me to be here.
The joy and honor and pleasure and everything else is on my side too, because you've experienced it all. If I can give a little teaser, I feel you have lived many lives. So I'm really excited to hear your insights. And today we're gonna have a conversation that is really close to both our hearts. And if you're anything like us, close to yours too. And some of you who have been regulars on the Scenic Route with me know that I have a very difficult relationship with my mother, and that we've been on kind of like no contact for almost 2 years now. And it's good as it is. And just funnily enough, like sometimes how life plays, it shows up stuff. And just end of last week, I was on TikTok and I was shown a TikTok by Mel Robbins where she kind of like said, oh, you have to love your parents for who they are and not for who you wish they would be.
Wow.
And
Powerful.
It is powerful. And I listened to the statement and I was like, yes, agreed. And then she was, well, even if they like don't like therapy, don't want to go to therapy, don't want to change, blah, 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 time with family is limited, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, girl, that's where I just do not agree. Like, why do I have to keep on taking shit from
absolutely.
the people who are closest to me or should be closest to me just because we're a family and time is limited and you choose not to go to therapy and you choose to continue be like a bad person? Like, the relationship with our mothers. Yes. Blanca, like
yes, it's a ever-changing situation, the relationship with our mothers, and I feel tremendously for the situation you're going through, Jennifer, but we are all responsible for our own acts. We are all responsible for our own healing or our own misery. And when it comes to that, if we need to go our own way in order to protect ourselves, because it's great to love everybody, but you gotta love yourself first. And the most important person in your life, it should be you, not throw yourself up the out of the cliff because you love this someone, but when this someone wants to be in a world of misery, how long are you going to follow? How long are you going to be there? Or how long are you going to try to support? How long are you going to try to help when all these individuals can do is help themselves? It's not up to anybody. It's up to themselves. It's up to me. It was always up to my mother. And here's with this amazing conversation has started already because I am a daughter and I am a mother. As a daughter, it was a whole different ball game to who I am as a mother. And this is what I did with, especially with my relationship with my mother. I picked up the lessons with her on what to do and what not to do in this life. And she taught me all extremely well, definitely.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I always say, but sometimes conversation comes up where you're like, oh, what did your parents teach you? And I always say, well, they teach me what not to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is, yeah, so my basic parenting style is whatever my parents did, I'm going to do the opposite.
Oh, I have done that many times myself. Yes. And it works wonders. It works beautifully. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it does. And at the same time, it's scary too, because you're doing something that it's not something you have lived or experienced through, and you also don't know if it's gonna work. You just hope it's gonna work out better for your kid than it did for you, but you have no proof, you have no knowing.
True. Very, very true. But I think it's up to us to develop this very important relationship with our kids as they keep on growing up. All I know is this: when the moment that my kids gave birth to now, they are full-blown adults, they live their own lives on their own terms. Kids are meant to grow like we did. And as a parent that I am, it was a huge wake-up call for me when my daughter said for the first time, Mom, respect my boundaries, please. And for me, it was a huge wake-up call because my mother didn't respect my boundaries. Okay. She didn't respect my opinion. She didn't respect my point of view. She didn't respect what was my going in life. It was either her way or you're doing it all wrong. Okay. But this was part of her rooting of chronic, untreated mental illness. She went through it all the way to her late 70s when she finally was put in an institution and taken care of. But in the meantime, before her being 78 years old, I lived my whole life around and with my mother. I grew up around and with my mother. And due to her mental illness, non-treated, the crazy was around all the time. It was unstable. It was, you don't know what's going to happen next. It was the environment of, oh, don't you worry, honey. You're capable of anything you want in this life. But then when I did something on my own right, she will tell me I'm stupid, I'm an idiot, I'm a slut. I mean, it was that intense, that from a 0 to 100. There was no happy medium on how to handle things. It was everything was drastic, everything was not well thought. And my mom comes from a place where I would never want to be. My mom comes from extreme poverty. My mom comes from Puerto Rico in the 1930s. It was the end of World War II. And she was in extreme poverty. She will go to school barefooted. I never experienced that in my life. But one thing she decided at a very young age, because it comes with the culture, when I get married and I have kids, my kids will never go what I went through. I highly honor that. and respected. And I'm very, very grateful about that she never gave up, that she was a team player with my father, rest in peace. And these are things, I mean, her audacity, her will to change the narrative, not for herself really, because my poor mother, she got out of physical poverty, of extreme poverty, but she had poverty of the soul and poverty of the heart and the mind. Okay. That was another one that went totally untreated, because her feelings and her emotions of poverty, they never stopped. Even when she lived in pure abundance with my father, he was a business owner. He was meant to do huge things in life. Yes, but
that's how we underestimate like the power of poverty has,
yes,
especially on kids who grow up in poverty. Like
absolutely.
It's not just, oh, there's not enough food, which is worse enough, but
yes,
it goes so much deeper.
oh yeah, it goes so much deeper. And if there is no recovery, there's no treatment for people that have been in extreme poverty, they will drag that trauma for the rest of their natural life. And my mother's 93 years old right now, and she still drags her poverty with her in her advanced dementia where she is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something what you said earlier, right? Like, and this is, I mean, an interesting conversation, right? Like and it doesn't just relate to mothers. We all have this person in our life, maybe this friend or mother or brother or whoever, where you're trying to help, you're trying to support.
Yeah.
But you said at one point, you have to sort of let go.
It's very important.
Because you feel it's impacting you. Like, where, I mean, I know what my cutoff moment was with my mom. Like, how do you, or how do your clients realize they're coming to a place where they have to let go to protect themselves?
Yes, that's imperative. That is the biggest sign of growth on your part, that you're not here to save anybody's lives anymore, because you got to save your own. And this is a huge rooting for any of us that have been through this kind of trauma and separation. Because in my 20s, I mean, I'm in my late 50s here, so it's a whole different ballgame, a whole different mindset. But in my 20s, I got totally separated from my mother for years, 5 years. I will see her from time to time. It was always a clashing. It was always a discussion. It was always this, it was hell on earth. And I was like, well, I don't need, if I am going to take off my time and try to see you and try to have a civil conversation, and it's going absolutely down the same rabbit hole over and over and over, repeatedly, why should I even bother? And this is when it comes, it's like, and at that point, I did the right thing. I don't regret not second of me separating from my mother for years, because after that, she had to do the first step for searching for forgiveness, because she is the mother. She is the figure. She is the mother figure. You're older than me. You lived a long ass life before I came into this world. You are the one who is supposed to be guiding me into and helping me through the next steps of my life. And that just didn't happen at that point in time. Now, years passed, 4 or 5 years, I don't know, but it was a long time that I just disconnected from my mother. And it was the time that there was no social media, no cell phones, no beepers. So it was just one phone with the curly cord.
Yes, we love the curly cord phone.
Yes, it was the curly cord, and you either send a letter, a postcard, or a phone call. Nothing else, nothing more. It was that era. So the disconnection was, 100% and full-fledged. But when we came back together, and I didn't choose it, She chose it, and we just started having a casual conversation and her calming down, because it was honestly, as a daughter, okay, it was honestly up to her. She needed to be the big girl. She needed to put her cojones in her place and step forward and say, hey, I messed it up.
Yeah.
Hey, I treated you like shit, but here I am. I'm still your mom. You're still my daughter. I love you, and I choose to respect you in the best of her ability for years to come.
Yeah.
Because once in her, here we go again, chronic untreated mental illness, her being abused as a child, her being abandoned, neglected, abused, sexually abused as a child. Of course, her way to interpret the world was, let me protect and control my daughters so much and so much and so much that I won't let them breathe, that I won't let them be what they want
So
to be.
no harm can come, but nothing else
Exactly.
can
So
grow.
no harm can come, but I am the one putting the harm in them. That was my mother's story. And when the moment of forgiveness came, she cried and I cried and I said, Mom, I messed it up too. You know, I ain't no perfect being here. I was disrespectful to her, and I'm not being, I was my mother's victim enough in this life. And that's one thing that I got rid of a very, very long time ago, because I'm the owner of my own actions, but I was just reacting to her actions. But I am not putting the whole responsibility on her, because I'm responsible for my
You could
own
have
demise.
reacted differently in many
Exactly.
situations. Yes,
Oh yeah.
agreed.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. I could have reacted differently. I could have done so many things to trying to find a way.
But again, if
and
you extend the
nurture it.
grace to your mother that she did the best she could, you're also extending
Yeah.
that grace to yourself. You did
Absolutely.
the best you could at that point in
Absolutely.
time.
But in the other hand, Jennifer, if your mother she is still in that crazy eight, she is still in that vicious circle.
Oh, she is.
I'm your
Oh,
victim.
she is. Blanca,
I'm
she
the
is.
victim, and you are the victimizer, and it's all your fault, and you're responsible for my suffering. Then you know what, Mom, I love you. Thank you for giving birth to me, but I am going my own way. And maybe if she step it up, because she's the mother, let's remember this, it's our responsibility as a mother that if we messed it up with our kids, we gotta step to the plate and say,
we have to make amends first.
come
yes.
here.
Yes.
I want
we have to
make
set the invitation.
Yes, yes. And I can really, really relate to you, because I am a daughter and I am a mother. When I was raising my kids, they were young, they were little kids. I was in a household plagued with domestic abuse. Okay. My ex-partner and the father of my kids, he was an abuser. He was full of childhood trauma. I was full of untreated childhood trauma. So we were mirroring each other. He had a highly addictive personality. He was a drug addict to the day he died. And I wanted to go in full Mother Teresa mode. I am going to save this person, when all I needed to do was save myself first. I was too busy trying to save him, because I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror and look at those skeletons banging on that closet saying, hey, lady, it's time to
you
let
have
go
some work to do too.
Yeah, you got some soul searching to do besides trying to save him, because the only person responsible for saving him was himself, and he never did. He died 13 years ago. He was a young man, 47 years old only. Right? So
Wow.
he chose his path to his demise. Now, with him, I learned that my path is not going to be like his. I am not following that. And that's when we broke apart. When he went his own way and I went my own way. But in the middle of that chaos, my kids got highly affected. They were in the middle of that turmoil, of that hurricane of horrible emotions, domestic abuse, neglect, abandonment, you name it, we had it. And my kids started growing, and I started growing up with them and for them. And it was the time, and the time has come quite a few times of saying, hey, I really messed it up. I know what I did, and I am here to tell you I am so sorry for my actions, and it's time for us to move on from this and see where this goes. I can tell you something. My kids love my presence in their lives, and it's for a reason, because I planted that seed, because I made it better for myself first and then for them. I recognize that it was a very difficult time for them. They come from childhood trauma, but that doesn't mean that they cannot heal from it, that they cannot grow from it, that they cannot just grab those lessons and move on, because they know for a fact where their mother has been and where their mother is now. It's a whole different ballgame. But here we go again, Jennifer. As a mother, I choose to plant that seed the same way that
water it and nurture it.
Exactly. You gotta water it, you gotta nurture it, you gotta put some good salt on it, you gotta give it vitamins, you gotta give it love, you gotta talk to your plants. They are living beings, and they will grow. They were just blossom. And my relationship with my kids, my daughter is 23 years old, my son is 26 years old, and the bond that we have is unbreakable. But it's because I planted that seed.
And you put in the work.
Oh, I put in the work. I had to. If I want my kids in my life, I have to put the work first and help them to navigate through whatever differences we may have. We don't have any differences at this time. When they need someone, when they are in turmoil with something in their lives, they come to me, and I honor that. I honor that so much and so much and so much, because I didn't have it in my own life as a daughter. I didn't possess that. I didn't have a mother that I could say, hey, mom, I'm not feeling well. This happened to me. Can I come over and talk? That never happened. I don't know what that is like. I'm experiencing as a mother for my kids.
Shock.
I have no clue of what that means, and I'll never have a clue of what that means. It's too late. It's too late. For my mother especially, she's 93 years old. She is in advanced stages of dementia. It's too damn late. You know what I do? I go to Puerto Rico and take care of my mother, because I mean,
bless your soul.
Thank you. And this is when I exercise compassion and empathy, and it's like I gotta be compassionate for the woman that did her very best in the best of her ability to make it sort of work. I mean, for all those years that we were apart, that there was no talking, and she came back and she exercised gratitude and she exercised forgiveness. Forgiveness is the heart of the matter. Oh yeah, you gotta step out that fucking high horse and say, hey, I messed it up. How can I make it up to you?
Yeah,
that is powerful. That is vulnerability. Vulnerability is power. And unfortunately, the older generations, like my mother, vulnerable is that you're a loser.
Yeah, they don't have it tied together with vulnerable being strength, vulnerable being weakness.
Not at all, not at all. Well, to the older generations, vulnerability is weakness. And even my own generation, I'm an older generation. I'm in my late 50s here, and there's so many people out there, and I see myself as an outsider, because it's like, I like to move on, I like to grow, I like to be vulnerable. I'm fine with showing weakness, yes, because weakness is human. We're not perfect human beings.
We're not AI versions.
No, we're not AI, we're not ChatGPT or none of that crap.
You touched on so many points, and I think I want to highlight one that has kind of been bubbling under the surface of, I get asked a lot, or every now and then, are you angry with your mother? And I'm like, no, I'm not angry. As you've said, I know she did the best she could. And I think this is really important for anyone listening. It both can be true. Yes, she did her best, and it was not enough for me.
True.
There is room for both statements to be equally true.
Very true.
And it just wasn't enough.
Exactly.
Plain and simple, right? And and it's things like putting in the effort. I mean,
yeah,
I could probably
could count on one hand the amount of times she asked me, "How are you?" for the past
That's a big one.
decades.
That all decades, yeah. And unfortunately, I mean, I feel that this is so unfortunate for her, and I
And she's only
understand.
68, but I already feel it's too late.
Yeah, I believe that it's really, really getting late and the clock is ticking for her. I mean, if you don't fix this, yeah, you need to. I mean, you're not the one who entirely needs to step forward and say, hey, let's talk about this. I mean, it is totally up to you if you feel like it, but it's like you feel like it, not being obligated by no one, being giving you the peer pressure. Oh no, you should be there for your parents. And I follow Mel Robbins a lot and I love her work. But at this time, with how we open this podcast, is like, Mel, girlfriend, we gotta sit down and chat, honey. Because
Yeah, I mean,
that is not necessarily the truth here. Okay.
no, I mean, granted, it was a snippet probably from a full-grown ass podcast episode. I don't know, but I was just like, that snippet is very unfortunate because if people treat you like shit, why go for seconds? Just because
That's
they're
right.
blood? I mean, that's exactly the reason why you should not treat people like shit if they're
Oh,
your own blood.
absolutely.
I mean, if that's
Absolutely.
not the reason, then I don't know what else could be.
Well, definitely. I cannot agree with you more. And this is what happens. Our we have so many friends. I have friends that are more family than my own family. Okay.
Yeah, same.
I mean, to be, animals are family. My dogs are family. Cats are family. Your animals are family. Your animals are people, are beings that will never let you down, that they will never abandon you. They will never judge you and they will never point their paw at you.
I had
And
a
that
very
is,
judgmental cat though. He was always giving me sad ass. Like, did you really?
cats,
Like,
cats are sassy and they give you
cats
this,
are sneaky
it's like,
little,
yeah, it's like,
but dogs. I
you
hear
need
dogs
to,
are very
yeah,
faithful.
yeah, it's like you need to F off for a second because I'm not in the mood for your
Yeah,
thing. And
no.
that's the kitty world. I love cats. Cats are so freaking cool. But yeah, going back to, people decide how long they're gonna hold to whatever grudges they may have, how long they're gonna hold on to the indoctrination of what generation came before them and how they grew up, because that's another story for another day. It's like, well, maybe your mother grew up in a worse position than you, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we are beings of change. We are here to change the narrative as we see it for us. And it's about getting out of this eternal comfort zone. Oh, this is the way I grew up. What am I going to do? Well, if this is the way you grew up, change the damn narrative and make it better for yourself. How about that? How about cutting that umbilical cord of generational trauma? And this is one thing that I pat myself on the back. Oh my God, Jennifer, every single day is like, girl, you got this down to the T.
Yeah,
Because I
you are the
come from,
cycle breaker.
I broke the cycle, and that's that. I am not gonna submit myself anymore to the bullshit that I submitted myself to for a very long time because I grew up that way. No, bro, this is me. This is who I am. I have always danced to the beat of my own drum, and it got me in trouble. But you know what? Who says I don't like trouble? So I still, to this day, I dance to the beat of my own damn drum, man. You know what it is? This is the
It's not in the rhythm or anything, but hey.
exactly. I mean, or seriously, you know what it is that about dancing to the beat of our own drums, that we do change things around. And I'm a dancer for a very long time. For 40 years of my life, I've been dancing. I'm still teaching to this day. And I am very honored and joyful and proud about that. It's like, holy shit, this woman, I'm about to be 59 years old and I'm still rocking it with all the youngsters. Bring it. But on the other hand, from mom to daughter, okay, my daughter loves my presence in her life. My daughter, last year there was an electronica music festival in Florida, in Orlando, and people are all half naked and the DJ is blasting. And she said, Mom, do you want to come to this festival with me? Sure. How am I going to say no? How am I going to say
No,
no
you could
when my
not.
daughter, my 23-year-old daughter, wants
No.
me
Wants to go on a
to
half-ass naked festival with you? No. Mm-mm.
It's
Yeah. No.
and it's a big honor. And this is the
Mm.
thing. This is the thing that filled my heart with joy and sadness at the same time.
Oh,
My daughter
elaborate.
had her my daughter had her mother with her. We were having a great time. I met her amazing friends, amazing, all of them, beautiful people. And there were two ladies, they were crying. It's like, well, this will never happen with me and my mom. This will never happen with
Yeah.
me and my parents. They don't even know.
Yeah.
They don't want to know. They're not interested.
Yeah.
They say that this is wrong. They say,
Given of the
how
vibe
dare
of
you
the
be half
festival and
naked?
the amount of
Yeah.
substances, I would also be like,
Yeah. I don't
never.
care. I don't care. I've been there, done that so many times. Who am I to be judging? Come on. Come on. I mean, have a blast. And if you want to have a blast with me, sure, bring it. But then again, here we go again with changing the narrative as a mother, changing the narrative as a daughter. I chose to forgive my mother because now I have a lot of understanding that my mother comes from trauma. My mother comes from a world that it was totally ostracizing her. My mother came from, there's one pill fixes all mental illnesses. My mother came from mental illnesses, the end of your life. You're a nobody, because it was the 70s, it was the 80s. There was no help for her. I understand that. I understand that how terrified she was of opening up and saying, hey, I am not feeling well and I'm messing my life up and the ones around me as a consequence of my own actions. But at the other hand, finally, after years of all three of us, because I wasn't the only one, I am the youngest of three siblings, and all of us three siblings, we parted ways with my mother. My mother was all alone. And what did she choose to do? Well, if I want to have my kids around me, I'm gonna have to change the damn narrative at least a little bit by exercising forgiveness. Forgiveness. Hey, I messed it up. I know how badly I have messed it up. I am so sorry. Okay, mom. And I was like, let me see. I had already my son, so I was getting close to my 40s. To my 40s. That was the first time that my mother exercised forgiveness. I'm the youngest of three siblings. So even though it's still really, really late for the things that I would yearn from a mother, from a daughter standpoint, that I am a daughter, I would have loved to have so many things and so many adventures that with my mother that I will never have. But at least I gotta give her some credit and grace that at least she exercised forgiveness. And I mean, I've been living in the US for over 20 years. My mother lives in Puerto Rico. I go every single year to Puerto Rico to have some quality time with my mother. And the story is completely different, especially now. Now it has been really, really hard for me to say, it's like, wow, I never saw the day that I would be changing my mother's diaper. And this is when it's like, I am exercising compassion. I am exercising empathy. I am exercising letting go of
It's a
all of those
testament to
years
your
of war.
strength,
Oh
really.
my God, Jennifer. Yes, absolutely. It's like, wow, I don't wish this on no one. Even when I had such a relationship with my mother was so full of turmoil and civil war. And you said, she tries to manipulate me. I'm your victim. I'm your victim. It's like, no, I'm not your victim, mom. I really am not. You know, this is, I'm here to help. I'm here to help my daughter, my sister, that she's her caregiver, how important that is. And it's like, well, you know, under mom's limitations, because she doesn't really speak that much. I try to do my best to bring joy, humor, and just give a good injection of love, because when we exercise compassion and love selflessly, it really takes us to the next level. And
does.
part of me getting to the next level is being here with you right here, right now. This is important. This is powerful. This is definitely, it's like, wow, if all of these experiences, all of me going down the rabbit hole, the darkest seasons in my life, which there are many, it has taken me here. Thank you. Thank you. Because I'm still here. I could have easily been another statistic of, oh yeah, she OD'd, she died, and she left two kids behind. How inconsiderate of her. She wasn't thinking about anybody but herself. Exactly. That's right. There's
Yeah,
no
and
denying
you're
it.
not just and yes, you could have just been another number in a very sad statistic, but also you're not just here, right? You're here and present. You're not here resentful or angry or, like you're here
Mm-hmm.
compassionate and kind.
Mm-hmm.
That's another ball game entirely,
Yeah.
right? Because there are also so many people who have given up. And I want to circle back to what you said about like the friend of your daughter who was crying at the festival.
Mm-hmm.
I can relate so much to that, right?
I'm sorry.
It's this mother wound. No, it's just like this mother
Mm-hmm.
wound. Like, although I know I did what I did was good for me, and
Mm-hmm.
I know I am better off in many, many ways than I was before, and I do not want to be the person again I was before.
Mm-hmm.
There are still moments of great sadness
Of course.
that I was not able to experience what I had the way I'm parenting my kid.
Yeah.
And I probably never will.
Oh no, I don't think so. I don't think so. That's the worst part. That's when we have these moments of when I was in Puerto Rico. It was this last month that I was there. I took care of my mother for 5 days. It was only me and her. And I would look at her at the hospital bed in her room. And that's the moment of sadness. That is like the moments that, and with profound sadness comes into play. And I would say to myself, damn, I will just wonder because I will never know. I'll only wonder how it would have been. Like with my death of my father was killed in his place of work when I was 8 years old. And after his death, nothing was ever the same again. And he was my person. He was my guy. He was my everything at that moment. And when with his passing, to this day, it's been 50 years since his passing, and I still wonder. I still wonder, wow, what would have happened? How would it have been? How would his relationship and mine grown? Or
Or
maybe
the
not.
relationship with
Who
your
knows?
kids, what kind
The
of
relationship,
grandpappy he would be.
exactly. What kind of grandfather he would have been. And with my mother, the same way. The same way. I'm looking at her, in a catatonic state, and I look at her with compassion and sadness, saying to myself, it's like, wow, you miss a lot, a lot. She missed a lot in our relationship, what could have been. And I say it because I'm a daughter and I'm a mother. And as a daughter, that I wonder what could have been. I am not here to waste my time wondering how my relationship with my kids could have been. I am celebrating every single day the relationship that we have. Isn't that empowering? Taking that brokenheartedness, because my heart was broken for a very, very long time, and still that sadness makes my heart shake, and a tear come down my eye and get choked
It's a
up.
very deep wound,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like
a
if you have a
very deep
frail
one. Mm-hmm.
relationship with your mother or your father,
Mm-hmm.
like, but I feel daughters and mothers, it's
Yeah.
a very, very deep wound.
Yeah, it's a very deep wound because we are supposed to really relate to each other in a very profound way. It's a bond that is there to stay no matter what. It's a bond that either stay for the better or worse. That's the thing. And when I look at my mother, it was with profound sadness of what could have been, and I can only wonder because it's too late. It's too late, and that gives me pretty much a push and the inspiration to keep on going with my kids, where my kids respect their boundaries, just like my daughter said at once, Mom, respect my boundaries. Okay, I will definitely do that because you respect mine. And we are here not to be, oh, I'm above you because I'm your mother and I'm looking down at you. I I learn so much from younger generations. I'm not that kind of older lady that's like, I know it all because I have gray hairs on my head. It's like, nah, man, I'm here to learn from you. Show me the newest things that you have around. Tell me what you have in store for me. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, Jennifer. And I feel you. My heart goes out to you with your strained relationship with your mother. It's very unfortunate. And I know that it's very unfortunate for you. It's a very sad, profound moment for you. But I feel, you know what? I feel sad for her. She is supposed to be the grown up here. She is supposed to be the one that says, hey, wow, maybe all these years ago I've been messing it up over and over and over, and this is why, because there's a reason why people just drift away from you.
Yeah.
There's people that there's always a reason why people say, you know what, I don't need your crap, bye, and you turn the back and you move on with your life. And as a mom, I feel tremendously for her on why aren't you doing some good soul searching and look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what have I done wrong? Because you're not the one who's supposed to be the grown up all the time. She's supposed to be the grown up because she gave birth to you. It's your birthright to be a daughter, and it's her right to be a mother. But be a good damn mother, bro. Come on, stop wasting time. That clock is ticking, woman.
There come responsibilities with both roles.
Absolutely.
But yeah, 100%. We had a frail parent-child relationship. The responsibility to open up, to invite discourse and conversation, the responsibility lies with the grown-up, with the adult, with the parent.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Whoever has the audacity to say, no, you're the kid and you're supposed to be the one who fixes up everything. It's like, well, I think that's a two-way road right here, right now. And it's up to the parent to make the first move. Definitely. Definitely. The first move, either a text. There's so many forms of communication now. Come on.
Oh,
You can go to a DM, to a text. Come on.
100%.
Come on. It's not like it was with me that it was like only the cord phone from the house and then a letter, you know? So yeah, come on. Don't make excuses here. We're all grown-ups here, definitely. Yeah. And there's even groups, I didn't know this, but I heard that there's even groups on social media of parents with strained relationships with the kids. And like, well, I don't relate to none of that. I have never seen it, but I met someone that she says, oh no, I had a strained relationship with my daughter, but then her anger in her words, I think they say a lot. I sometimes what do you do? What do you do for your daughter to be drifting away from you?
Yeah.
Definitely. Absolutely.
I sometimes see like this TikTok post of mostly angry boomer parents like, oh, my kid doesn't talk to me anymore. And just by the way you hear them talk in this like 30-second clip, like the belittling, the belittling of their children.
That kind of says it all.
And you're like,
kid doesn't want to talk to me. I don't understand what's going on. Oh my God, what have I done? And it's like, well, there you go, right there. You are being the victim of your kid when you're supposed to be saying, and emotion is everything. Body language speaks louder than 1,000 words.
Yes,
oh,
absolutely.
Goodness. Oh my goodness.
And especially when you have young kids, right? Like they don't understand the words you say, they have no meaning to the words, but they can read if you're tense or like clenching your jaws. Like they know, like, something's not good.
There's no way to deny it. You cannot run or walk away from that. And when those clips come in of, I don't know, what have I done to my kid for my kid not to talk to me? It's like, well, you're going into pure victimhood. You're being your kid's victim right there. Why are your kids victim? Well, then she's got a major victimhood trauma going on that you are just reflecting on your kid. Whatever you're carrying with you from wherever you come from, you are throwing it on your kid. And it's not supposed to be that way. And this is the beauty when we grow up to be older adults, is that we are under no obligation to have any relationship with whoever we want. We are under no obligation.
They're not just downsides to growing up, like paying bills and responsibilities. There are also good sides.
Exactly. And I can say this because my mother was abusive, neglectful, crazy, batshit crazy. And it took us to a very, very bad many moments and years in our lives. And when she exercised forgiveness and I'm so sorry, it didn't mean in any way or form that we were like close knit and it's a bed of roses and daisies. No, it's just that the boundaries are meant to be respected. And if my mother tried to come with all this possessiveness or manipulative, I mean, she was a very manipulative. She was everybody's victim. Why do you do this to me? Why do you do this to me? And I'm like, well, you know what? Your victimhood, I pass, and I will just turn my back and leave. It's like, this is the beauty of being an adult. It's like, no, I'm going to take your crap as long as I want to, or as soon as I see it fit for whatever my mood is of the day. And if I don't need to hear your shit, I won't hear it. And that's that. And that's when relationships are strained. But honestly, Jennifer, it's up to the parent to make it better. The parent needs to do the first
100%.
step. The father, the parent does the first step, and I promise you the rest will follow. I was in a turmoil, in a horrible, relationship. It reflected on my kids, and my kids grew up. They don't live with me anymore. We live a few thousands of miles away, but they want to come to Florida to see me. I want to go up to Wisconsin to see them. My daughter wants me to be at a music festival where there's craziness and people are half naked. I was like, yay! Yummy. Yes, absolutely. I love this so much. And my son, that he is the quiet one, he wants to share with me everything that he is doing with his life. But that's the seed that I planted. Me
Yeah.
as a parent,
Yeah.
I planted it. Definitely.
That's
that makes the difference.
when every time our son comes up to us, to me or my partner, and he shares something that you see is not easy for him to share, the first thing you say to him is, buddy, thank you for telling us that.
Of course.
Right? Because that's the first thing. But closing up, like with the healing, and we said before, the responsibility lies with the adult. Yes, 100%. And I also had to take the responsibility of all the times I was the willing fixer for my mother's problems.
There you go.
Right? There were so many times where I was the fixer. So of course, when I suddenly decided, oh, I don't want to be the fixer anymore, there was a lot of confusion. Well, why are you behaving like this? You always did. Yeah, it's true. I never should have from the start.
True.
But I was put in this role, and to some extent, I also exercised this role. And it's really whole if you also see not just the victim side, and just be really like, like, yeah, I also did some things I don't want to repeat again.
Of course.
And I don't know, there are probably a couple more times where I have to repeat it because I haven't really learned the message. Which is fine, which is human.
It's fine. It's called being human.
yeah, right? Like sometimes we're like, oh, I have to learn everything there is to learn with this last life lesson, and I have to like life coach the shit out of me. And it's like, no, girl, it's fine. Like when if you reflect on the situation and you've learned something from it, that's cool. You're not like a fixer-upper eternity project. Like it's okay. Right. You can also take a rest.
That's right. That's right. And you're doing what's best for you, Jennifer, and that says a lot. It says that you're doing your own internal growth, and that is what matters the most. The one person that you can save the most is you. And the best investment is the one that you do on yourself. That's the best investment that we do, definitely. And our self-talk is the most important conversation we can have in this world, is our self-conversation, because oh boy, do we throw ourselves down the toilet over and over. I did it.
Oh God, yes.
Oh my
God. If someone would talk to, I mean, I got better over the years, but
Mhm.
the way I used to talk to myself, or still do in some instances,
Mhm.
if I would hear someone talk to my kid like this, I would smack their ass. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not a violent person, but I probably would smack their ass. Like,
Yeah.
bad,
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. But we learn, we grow and we learn, and we're here for improvement. Any little improvement is improvement, and definitely our conversation with ourselves and the best investment we do is on ourselves, without a doubt. Is and of course, what is the biggest love of them all? Self-love. When we exercise self-love, really everything that just transform into something better, and we see our world with a whole different lens. That is without a doubt. I cannot, there's no way of denying it. And when I start seeing my world with a whole different lens is when compassion and nurturing, and it's like, okay, let me exercise compassion and empathy for my mother, because her clock is really ticking. It's a matter of time until her passing. And when she goes, finally, I'm gonna be with a sense of, okay, mission accomplished, instead of, oh, what could have been. I know that a lot of could have beens have been there through the years, but there's no way to change it.
There's no regret.
Oh no, there's no regret whatsoever. I don't regret anything about my life with my mother,
That's
because
beautiful though, right? That's how it should be. It is what it is. It ran its
yeah,
course.
absolutely. It really
And
did. It really did. It ran its course, but it's up, as a parent myself, it's up to the parent to make that first step. You have a strained relationship with your kid, get up your ass. Yeah, you parent up there, that you are being your kid's victim. Stop being your kid's victim. Do yourself a favor and get up your
I'm
ass.
gonna make this a
Send
sound
a
bite or a
text.
GIF, and every time I see some boomer parent complaining about their strained relationship with their kids, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna reply that.
Oh yeah, get up your ass and do something about it to change the narrative, because it's up to you. You're the parent, and that's why you're called a parent. Definitely. It's not for everybody, but a lot of people still do it. So go ahead, be a real parent, be a human being, be the grown up, and approach. Approach with an open heart. Approach with that judgmental switch. You need to disconnect that damn switch and throw it away, because the judging part as a parent has to go out the door especially when your kids are growing up, when they are adults. Learn to respect their boundaries, learn to respect who they are, because they are not like a menu in a restaurant. Okay, it's not that you are going to make them whatever you want them to be, because that's the way it's supposed to be in your eyes. But how about them? How about our kids? If they want to be themselves, is that wrong? I truly don't believe so. And this is why strained relationships are there, because we want to govern our kids' lives in such a way. We want our kids to be our property in such a way that is when disaster strikes, because my mother wanted us to be her property until that never happened. We were never her property in the first place. You gave birth to us. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't give you the title,
No.
you are my property. That is not in the menu. That is not in the book. As a mother of two kids grown up, they're not my property.
No,
And
God, no.
honestly,
Yeah.
I don't want them to be my property. I want them to go and live
No,
their
no.
lives at their
Like
own
how I think
terms.
this would be a really terrible thought if I
Oh
would
my
think of
God,
my kid as
yes.
my property. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah,
But
that's sick.
I know, but it starts in so many subtler ways, right? Like how I feel a lot of the issues the challenges we have is when we would think of kids, right? And if you would think of kids as already proper grown fucking adults,
Exactly.
right?
Right.
A lot of questions of how I should talk to kids, you would not be thinking this, right? It would be totally clear. Like,
Exactly.
would you show? Oh, this is always so infuriating if people show like tantrums of their young kids on social media.
Right. Oh
I'm
my,
like, oh, right. If your
that's so
if your
terrible.
mother or if your partner would have a tantrum, would you record it and like make fun of it, or for educational purpose,
Right.
for other purpose, I don't care. Would you record
Right.
it and show it on social media? No,
No,
you
no,
would not. You would
nah.
never. So
That's
why would you
nobody's
think it's
business.
okay to show the tantrum of your child on social
Yeah,
media? I'm like,
exactly. Exactly. It's a very different era, definitely. And whoever chooses to do that, I think it can create even more grief between parent and kid, because the kid maybe is like, you know how much you embarrassed me by this that you posted on all social media, and how my friends are seeing it and they're making fun of me, because
yeah,
this is the consequences of certain actions that people are not really seeing outside of this bubble.
yeah,
Social media never goes away. Whatever you put in social media never goes away. You may delete it from your
mhm,
page or whatever, but when it went all over the place, it will
yeah,
still be there forever. And this is the thing. Parents out there of kids, watch out, because whatever you post about your kids or with your kids in social media, it can have repercussions in a very negative way for your kids, not yourself. So please watch out what you do, what you say, what you post. Think outside the box. Think outside that phone. Think about it in a broader spectrum, because
yeah,
people from all over the world can see how foolish you are on posting a fight with your kid on social media just to make a point. So watch out with that. Be
yeah,
very watchful, very cognizant about it. I highly recommend this.
yeah, 100%. Like it's, uh, but I mean, I feel this is a conversation. This is a whole nother podcast.
Absolutely.
Whole other podcast I've said, but
Love
it's
it.
really true, right? Like, and I feel it show, and whenever I see this, to me, it's a telltale sign of underlying issues, like you just don't respect your kid as an
Mhm.
independent human being.
Yeah.
You
And that
just
is
don't.
so important.
And
That
like,
that's
come
so
here,
important.
fight me on this, but no, you
Mhm.
do not.
Exactly. And this is the thing, when disrespecting your kid that is not a kid anymore, then that's when separation happens. You gotta respect who they are as human beings and as individuals, because you want that respect as well. So how are you gonna give respect to someone when you're not willing to respect their boundaries? When you're not willing to, that when whatever they say, you just pass it by because you have the last word on this, and what you say is the rule. It's like, not
Mhm.
really, especially when we're full-blown adults. You have a kid on your own right. Your mom, yeah, it's okay, your mom is your mom, but she's a full grown ass woman, and so are you. And it is meant for her to respect who you are as a human being, as a daughter, and she should be very, very proud of what you're doing right here, right now. This is a message that is going outside of your comfort zone. I'm going outside of my comfort zone to help others in
Yeah,
similar situations understand one thing: wow, I am not alone.
yeah,
Wow, I am not alone. And maybe there is a solution depending on what kind of relationship you have with your parent, or as a daughter or as a son. You choose your battles. You choose your battles, but make sure, please, it doesn't matter if it's your father, your mother, your grandfather, the person, most important person in your life. If this person is not helping you with your growth, it's not helping you with you shining with your own light, you need to make some decisions. And it's very hard. It's very heartbreaking, but at the long run, you will be okay. I
mhm.
promise you that you will be okay.
That's such a beautiful message to end this our conversation, Blanca.
Thank you.
And yeah, like if you take anything from our conversation, like yes, please rest assured that if that we're always changing, we're always growing, and
Mhm.
you have no obligation to anyone but yourself. And if
Mhm.
you're outgrowing relationships, even the ones with your parents, that's okay. That can happen. Life
Yeah.
happens. And yeah, we're not blaming anyone. Like, it's not a question of blame or guilt. Like, it's what happens, right? You can fully acknowledge that your parents did the best they could and that it wasn't enough.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Just because they did the best they could, it doesn't necessarily take away from the fact that it wasn't enough for you. And it's
Yeah.
totally okay. All right. There's no guilt. There's no shame here. Please don't feel guilty about it. Please don't feel like, oh, am I asking for too much? No, you're not asking for too much. You're not. I promise you that. There is when some voids are empty, when something is missing, it's just missing, and that's it. And probably, most likely, you won't be able to fill that void, but we get through it and it'll be okay. We are not beings of perfection here. Perfection is an illusion, and perfection is a stupid fantasy that is non-existent in this human experience. We were never, this doesn't come with our instruction booklet of, oh, we are supposed to be perfect. No, bro, we're not perfect. None of us are. If our parents are not perfect, we are not perfect. But there's something called harmony. And when two entities come in harmony, then the waves start to come down. It's the high tide with the low tide, but everything
It
will come
balance
to
each other out.
place. Exactly. It's like a tree, a palm tree here in the Americas. Palm trees, they move and they sway. That's why in hurricane season, they survive more than any other tree around because they sway, they're flexible. And when it comes to relationships, there's got to be some flexibility here. There's got to be, you got to be willing to choose your battles, which is the most important part. Choose your battles even with your own parents. I sure do as a daughter and as a parent myself.
So Blanca, if people are now like, okay, I want to know more about Blanca, where can people find you? How can people in touch with you?
Yes, please. My website is www.woundedhealer.us. You can find my email, my phone number, text me. I am here in the US Eastern Standard Time. I am here to serve you. I'm here to help you. And for all of the listeners, I'm a holistic life coach. I've been doing this work for a very long time. It's my mission in life to help others improve their quality of life because I have a life coach and it has been transformational in my life, not only with my relationship with myself, but my relationship with others. And I am here to offer you a complimentary life coaching session, 1, 2 hours, whatever it takes. I don't have no time frame here. Call me. Let's get together. Let's make this work. Don't do it alone, please.
That's beautifully put. Yes, we know you can do it alone. You're a grown-ass fucking woman, but that doesn't mean you have to.
Exactly.
So before I let you go, I always have one last question. What book are you currently reading, or what audiobook are you currently listening to?
I am reading Your Dog is Your Mirror. It's a
okay.
Yes. Out of all things, I read many things. I'm a canine massage therapist, and I love to read about behaviors between human and dog. Let's remember that the behavior, the relationship between human and dog has been dated since 50,000 years ago. So it's a long ass time that dog and humans have been together. So this beautiful book called Your Dog is Your Mirror is definitely a reflection on how much your dog can be like you. So watch out with what you're doing because your dog will tell everybody who you are. And it's a beautiful story of relationships between dog and their human companions. It's beautiful. I'm learning so much about human behavior through the lens of a dog. Imagine that.
Yeah. I mean, when you put it like this, it totally makes sense. I was just never thought of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, then again, the way you like raise a dog is the way you raise a child. So,
oh yeah,
I mean, same.
Go figure.
Do with that information as you will, as you please.
Exactly.
Blanca, thank you so much for joining me on the scenic
Thank you,
route.
Jennifer. What a joy and an honor has been for me to be here. What a wonderful conversation we just had. It's just amazing. Thank you for having me.
And just like that, we've reached the end of another journey together on the Scenic Route podcast. Thank you for spending time with us. Curious for more stories or in search of the resources mentioned in today's episode? Visit us at scenicroutepodcast.com for everything you need. And if you're ready to embrace your scenic route, I've got something special for you. Step off the beaten path with my Scenic Route affirmation card deck. It's crafted for those moments when you're seeking courage, yearning to trust your inner voice, and eager to carve out a path authentically, unmistakably yours. Pick your Scenic Route affirmation today and let it support you. Excited about where your journey might lead? I certainly am. Remember, the Scenic Route is not just about the destination, but the experiences, learnings, and joy we discover along the way. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on the Scenic Route again.